One of the best rules for becoming wise is also one of the hardest rules to follow. You won't be surprised to learn. It's simply this: whenever you find an idea that explains everything, reject it. It's certainly wrong. Freudianism, Marxism, evolution, liberty, individualism, whatever your religion is, racism, all of them may contain some truth, but if they make you feel you understand life or anything else right down to the ground, they become a snare and a delusion. It's hard to reject. This is what they call totalism. Totalism is kind of the idea that you can explain everything with one particular idea. If you have an idea that gives you a complete understanding of life, that feeling of certainty it gives you is really deliciously reassuring. It makes you feel that, you've got this, you've now got everything under control, but go ahead and reject it anyway. And I promise you, your experience of life will become more real and more beautiful. This is not nihilism, and it's certainly not relativism. It doesn't mean you can't have principles. It doesn't mean you can't have your own ideas about things. It doesn't mean you can't tell the difference between right and wrong. It simply means that your principles, your ideas, and your morality should be suffused with humility. It's the opposite of pride. You want humility. Like Socrates, you should know that you know nothing. Like the prophet, you should walk humbly with your God. And in the immortal words of the crazy Oliver Cromwell, he said, "I beseech you," I always love this quote, even though Cromwell said it. He said, "I beseech you in the bowels of Christ, think it possible, you may be mistaken." Now, I have been reluctantly plugging my book. I do. My reader's copy here, because it's so beautiful. I have to show it to you again. The Truth and Beauty. I want you please to go on and pre-order it. In fact, if you go on the Zondervan website and search for it, you can get a little sample of it so you can see if you will enjoy it, which I hope you will. And it's about the Gospels, but it's also about the Romantic poets. And one of the heroes of the book is John Keats. And John Keats is a very tragic figure, and I tell his story. He died when he was only 25 years old, and in those 25 years, he produced some of the greatest English poetry since Shakespeare. And Keats loved Shakespeare, and he said that Shakespeare possessed a quality that Keats called negative capability. And here is how Keats described this quality. Negative capability is when a man is capable of being in uncertainties, mysteries, and doubts without any irritable reaching after fact and reason. You are willing to live feeling that the world is a little bit uncertain. Now, I have cultivated negative capability all of my life. I've always believed in it, but it was always a concept that was in my mind. It was always something that I was looking for and seeking to, create in myself and enhance in myself. And sometimes, when people really like the show, the few people maybe who really enjoy the show, sometimes will say to me, you're a really underrated political commentator. And I have no way of knowing whether that's true or not. But if it is true, if I am underrated, it's because negative capability is the opposite of political thought. Political thought is always certain, self-sure, and that's why people are so angry in politics all the time, because they can't understand how someone can't see what they see. But negative capability makes people wise. It makes artists better at what they do. It helps people see the world without reducing the world to a mere reflection of their personal opinions, because you're open to finding out your personal opinions might be mistaken. A great work of art is open to many interpretations, just like the world is open to many interpretations, because the world is created by an infinite mind, and you and I don't have infinite minds. Life and art are not subject to infinite interpretations. You can't just say anything about them because they're bound by facts. The fact that you're born a boy or a girl, that's a fact. The fact that there are high crime rates, that's a fact. The fact that Alexandria occasional cortex is an ignoramus, that's a fact. But while facts aren't open to infinite interpretations, their meanings are open to more interpretations than anyone mind can know. And here's the trick. Many of those interpretations may be in conflict and yet both true. This Niels Bohr, who was a Danish physicist, said the opposite of a fact is falsehood, but the opposite of one profound truth may very well be another profound truth. He said it in Danish, so nobody knew what he was talking about, but still, that can be true, even though it seems contradictory. That is why we're always moving toward the truth, but we never get to the truth, right? This is true of the human race. There's always something to learn. There's always a new way to look at things. There's always new information coming in. There are always new interpretations that enlighten us, even if they go against an interpretation that also had something that enlightened us. It's very complicated. And that is why That is why, because we're always traveling toward the truth, but we never reach the truth, that is why we allow other people to speak freely, even when we hate every word they say. That's why we don't ban books, even if they're written by literally Hitler or by Jim Acosta. Even if somebody is evil or stupid, respectively, as Hitler and Acosta may be, even they may hit upon certain truths that are worth considering, or they may state certain falsehoods that are worth refuting because they will make your own understanding deeper and broader. And maybe just knowing them, just understanding that people like Acosta exist, they're part of creation, so knowing them makes you wiser. It makes you wiser about the world. In a culture dedicated to truth, justice, and the American way, more voices are always better than fewer voices because we should always be uncertain about what we believe. Subscribe and like if you want more content like this, and if you want even more, subscribe to my podcast wherever you get your podcasts.